Hello, everyone. Hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, good day. Hello, and welcome to the Spiritual Circle Gathering. We meet every Thursday between the hours of 7 and 8 p.m. here on the East Coast and 4 to 5 p.m. on the West. 7 till 8 p.m. on the East Coast, 4 till 5 p.m. on the West. As we know, we are studying from the Basic Principles of Science of Mind, 12-lesson home study course by Dr. by Dr. Fredrick Bales. And this is lesson number 7, Hidden Power for Human Problems. We also had, first of all, good evening. Good evening. I needed to settle down and regroup. All right. We're going to go into a treatment prayer, but I needed to settle down and regroup. As a matter of fact, let me do this now. Here I am. Boom. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go into a treatment prayer. As a matter of fact, and today's treatment prayer is on select and initiate. Select and initiate. With the knowingness that there is only one power and one presence in the universe. One love, one God, one mind, one spirit, one. And God is able. God is able. Spirit is able. Infinite intelligence is able. Able to do what? All there is. God, over, around, and through all there is. We are connected to infinite wisdom, and God and us are one, and there are no separations. We are one with each other. We are in what's called inclusion. We are included with God. This day, I declare select and initiate. I choose to select and I choose to initiate. I choose to select and initiate the powers of the omnipotent, omnipresent, everywhere present, omniscient, all-knowing power. I seek to choose the higher level of life. This day, I seek to choose the higher level of life. The higher level of life is available to all of us. And I choose the higher level of life. I choose to be one with the one. And I know that that which I seek seeks me. I know that I am in good, orderly direction with the one. Good, orderly direction. I choose good, orderly direction, and I initiate good, orderly direction. This I declare to be true now. Release, I let go. I release my petition, and I let it go. I know that it is making its way to the obedient servant. And the obedient servant is already about the business and the task of selecting and initiating that which is in my best interest. I release my word, and I know it is not going to return to me void. Thank you that you hear me, and that you hear me now. In the very name, nature, and power. In the very name, nature, and power. In the name of all there is. The infinite, the body, the mind. In the infinite name of all there is, I am grateful that right now you hear me. That you hear me right now. Amen. Ashe. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Well, as I said, out to say, before I interrupted myself, that we are now in chapter 7, and that we are, I don't know about you, but I am certainly learning a lot. Yes, I am. Okay, so let us move on. The questions are the goal. What is the goal? We have a goal. There's always a goal. Always a goal. Before I go there, one thing. Quotation by Fredrick Bales. Man is not a body containing a mind. He is a mind operating through a body. Again, man is not a body containing a mind. He is a mind operating through a body. And as we know, we are studying from the book. We have our books, Basic Principles of the Science of Mind. And we are on number 7. Yes, we are. Number 7. Chapter 7, number 7. All right. I am ready to begin. The lesson is, what is a treatment? What is a treatment? A treatment is its own entity, separate and specific. The first fundamental and successful treatment is to treat the cause. Coming from the book Hidden Power for Human Problems, page 157. Again, what is a treatment? A treatment is its own entity, separate and specific. The first fundamental and successful treatment is to treat the cause. A treatment is a conscious setting in motion of a definite spiritual law and a definite direction to produce a specific effect. The physical condition is thought taking form. The spiritual practitioner traces it back to the thought and treats the thought, not trying to influence or change the thought of another. Treatment is for convincing ourselves that the sick or defeated person has a false viewpoint on life, and that we are presenting the true state of affairs. A treatment is a series of definite statements of the truth about a person as seen by the infinite, seen as the infinite sees the person, and the person, the infinite, sees the person just like it created the person, healthy, whole, and complete. Okay, so that's number 1. Bear with me. I am on the ball. Okay, we've done the prayer. All right. Number 3. I hope you have the book. I have it, but I made copies, and I think that was my first mistake. But that's okay. You don't need to know my mistakes. Number 2. What does the practitioner work with in treatment? What does the practitioner work with? The practitioner works with focus. The practitioner works with focus. The practitioner works with the belief or conviction that all persons are part of creativeness. The practitioner is conscious of the one close, inseparable union with the one healing presence. The practitioner knows that there is only one all-embracing mind in the universe. This is page 88. Your mind can heal you. Again, the practitioner works with the belief or conviction. It's more of a conviction than anything, that all persons are part of the infinite creativeness. The practitioner is conscious of the one close, inseparable union with the one healing presence. The practitioner knows that there is only one all-embracing mind in the universe. Now, at 6 p.m. here on the East Coast, from 6 till 6:30, I interviewed someone, Herb Freed, and he said something about the higher power that I found very interesting. He said that there's a word that he used, but what the overall point is that higher power starts out, spirit starts out as one. Then he said it breaks itself off into 2 parts. And what it does is it finds it's seeking it, it's finding itself trying to find the other part. In other words, it starts out as one, then it breaks off into two parts, and then it spends the rest of its process looking for its other half. So I'm saying that to say, if you remember maybe series 3, Principles of Science of Mind, there was a mention of spirit breaking its spirit is everywhere, and so it finds itself trying to, one part enhances the other part. So when spirit is one, but what it's trying to do, or what it does, not trying to do, but what it does is it is seeking the other part that enhances. In other words, one part enhances the other. That was the point that I was making a few series ago. And then when I interviewed him today, he in essence said the same thing. So I find that very curious. So back in chapter 3, power flows to the focus of attention. Well, when the practitioner engages in his or her practice of focus, because focusing is very, very important. So when the practitioner is engaging in full conviction, so that practitioner needs focus of attention. So those of you that can see this, well, look at the diagram on page, I believe that would be 37. 37 comes to mind. And if you look at that diagram, you're going to see an eye. And then you're going to see it looking through. In other words, there's a margin on each side. But what we are to do is to focus on what's in front of us. And we don't need to be a practitioner to practice that art of simply focusing on what's in front of us. There is a benefit in focusing on what is in front of us. Why? Because it's very powerful. Yes, we have power that where we could maybe multitask. But why engage in multitasking? Because you're going to need every ounce, every modicum of energy you can muster when it's time to treat. All right? So we may as well practice now, focusing on one thing at a time. So we use our focus, our gift of focus, our ability to focus. Okay? I keep using that word because it's imperative that we allow that we choose to focus. Okay? Our attention on one thing at a time. Why? Because power flows through that focus of attention. Don't bother looking on the margin. Don't bother looking sideways. Stay focused. It's always best to stay focused. Number three. When is a treatment completed? It's a rather lengthy answer, but here we go. We start with a fundamental truth that the person for whom we are treating. Yes, go ahead, please. You wanted to speak. Go ahead, please. Okay, thank you. Number three, when is a treatment completed? We start with the fundamental truth. This is a fundamental truth now, that the person for whom we are treating is a perfect idea in the mind of God. And our whole procedure during a treatment is intended, the intention, it is intended to remove from our own mind any idea or picture of imperfection or sickness in the patient, whether we are treating for ourselves or for someone else. A mental, spiritual treatment is completed entirely in the mind of the practitioner. Page 97. Basic principles of science of mind. We turn our completed picture of perfection over to the great physician. And what is the great physician? Our great physician is the one, the infinite one, the obedient servant. Our completed picture of perfection over to the great physician, universal mind, or the servant who has been standing at our elbow while we write our letter of instruction. In effect, we say, here are my instructions. You are a perfect servant, and I know you will carry them out to the letter because you have never failed me yet. That is a quotation from Your Mind Can Heal You, page 97, Fredrick Bales. Moving right along. Number 4. In treating for another person, why do we use the third person instead of the second? Now, this was a question that I needed myself to, I needed an answer. It just didn't make any sense. First person, second person, third person, when it's only the practitioner and the person. But no. The answer from page 159, Hidden Power for Human Problems, per Bales, quote, I use the third personal pronoun, never the second. I speak about the person, not to him. Using the pronoun you savors an effort to change his thinking by coercion. Using the pronoun he or she indicates my efforts to convince myself that he or she is held in the grip of a false belief. I have formed a picture of the truth about the person. I can then drop my perfect pictures into the river of creative mind, make the treatment specifically for you. So when you are making your treatment, you make the treatment specifically for you. Now, I have a comment. Now, if you remember, maybe it was series 1 or 2, I said something to the effect of, when we walk into a room, there are pictures on the wall. And so what we want to do is to take those pictures down and hang some new positive, declarative pictures up on the wall that that make a direct reference to what it is we want to copy. Those pictures are copies, and those pictures are placed on the surface mind, And so the obedient servant looks at those pictures, the new pictures that are on the wall, and it says, okay, and it copies what those pictures are, and then it's about the business of making those pictures into form. So first it is the thought, then it is the picture, then it is the material or the form or the body. So first it is the thought, creative energy. Then it is first it is infinite spirit. Then it is the obedient servant. Then it is the end result. Okay. Where was I? Number five. Comment on the relation between frequency in treatment. Comment on the relation between frequency of treatment and release. This answer I received from page 96 of Basic Principles of Science of Mind. How often to treat? It is best to give a treatment 2 or 3 times a day, always making sure to release the treatment to infinite mind. If we find ourselves coming back too often to treat again, it is a sign that we have not and completely released it. Okay. Are there any questions so far about what has been said, what has been presented? Remember, I am a student just like some of the rest of us, and I am open to feedback. Any questions about number 5? Any questions about number 4 in treating another person? So far, any questions about what is the treatment? How do you know when a treatment is completed? So far, are there any questions? Going once. We can always come back. Okay. Number 6. What attitude should we take toward time and healing? Now, out of all of the questions, for whatever reason, and I've studied this lesson all week, I could not come up with the answer for me. I could not come up with an answer for me until maybe 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago is when I came up with an answer that makes sense to me. And that answer is the following. We pay only enough attention to it to know what it is we're treating for. This is page 93 of Your Mind Can Heal You. We pay only enough attention to it to know what it is we are treating for. Then we turn from its contemplation to the contemplation of the spiritual perfection of the patient, which we know to be actual reality. In other words, let's just say hypothetically, I'm treating, hypothetically. So I turn from my thought of the situation to the contemplation of what the spirit is. And the spirit is perfect, whole, and complete. Therefore, I see nothing but perfect, whole, and completeness in front of me. Unless hypothetically I'm treating for someone on the phone. As a matter of fact, Bales gave an explanation or an example of treating someone at a different location. But what he needed was, and the suggestion that he's passing over to us is, we need the name of the person. We need the address of where the person is. And the reason why that is because of the importance of being specific. Because it's all about being specific. So when his thing is that when we are treating, to be specific. Be as specific as possible, because we need as much information as possible in order to treat. Okay? So you pay only enough attention to know what we're treating for. You want to know what the cause is. The cause is important. Forget about what you're looking at. You do not see a sick person. You see a perfect, whole, and complete person. But you see, the treatment is about gaining that confidence, gaining that conviction, gaining the knowingness of who you represent. You are an ambassador of infinite spirit. So it's about representing. You are representing. You are here on this realm. And no, you are not a miracle worker. I am not a miracle. I keep focus on myself. No, I am not a miracle worker. I am on this realm, armed with tools of self-conviction, being convinced, knowing who I am, practicing principles and studying that diagram. There's that diagram. I'll never forget that diagram. I think it's on page 57 or 52. I will never forget that diagram as long as I live. There are 3 components to that diagram. And if I don't remember anything else about that diagram, and that there's a spirit, there is mind, there's spirit, and there's body. And if I don't understand anything else, I know that spirit is first. No, mind is first. What I think about, I bring about. Mind is first. Then the servant is second. And then what's coming up third is the form, that which I think about. And if I don't get anything else right, get that. I am to understand that. I am to have the conviction of knowing that I and the Father are one. Let me give you an example. Okay, now I know this is going to sound Christian, but just work with me. When the master teacher went to Lazarus. He did not hem and haw around. He did not walk around Lazarus and say, I wonder if. He spoke with authority. Lazarus, rise. Lazarus' spirit. If spirit was talking to spirit. Jesus' spirit was speaking with authority. We talked about that last week. Authority. Speaking with authority. Lazarus, rise. And Lazarus rose. When the priest Jairus was summoning Jesus, and Jesus went through, he had to come through a maze of people. And before he could even get through to Jairus' house to help his daughter, there was a woman, and she touched him. And so Jesus said, someone touched me. And the disciples are looking at each other saying, it's a busy place. Everybody's inadvertently touching each other. So then he looked down, and there was a woman that was touching the hem of his garment. And she had an issue, and she believed in him without hesitation. He connected with his Father, Spirit. Boom, it was done. You see, it's about maintaining the connection. That's the work. It's the knowing it's the knowing that we are connected. I'm not a practitioner. I've never had the work. But from what I'm reading, it seems as though the work is the conviction of it. The work is knowing. The work is you're not batting an eyelash. You know what you're doing, and you know what it is you have to work with. And what you have to work with is your knowing that you are connected. That's the knowingness of that you are connected. That there's an energy source, that you are it, or you and the source are one. There is no him and hawing around. Just get busy. Just do what you need to do. Just do it. Okay. What else? There was another occurrence where the master teacher healed someone. The situation with the ear. All right. When Judas showed up with the individuals that wanted to put him in jail. And so Peter pulled out a sword and cut one of the centurions with the sword, and the ear was severed. And without thinking twice, Jesus knows his connection. He just put the ear back together. You see, you have to understand there could never be any doubt. And I believe that is the training of the practitioner. Not having any doubt. Understanding with the knowingness that being focused on the power of intention and focus on knowing that there is no failure. Failure is not an option. That's not even in the picture. I shouldn't have even used the word. Knowing that we know that we are connected. We are one with it. We are one with the one. I'm sure there's a million ways I could say it, but that's what comes to mind right now. Okay, so now we should always treat ourselves and fill our consciousness with actual reality. What is the actual reality? To fill our consciousness with the evidence of infinite greatness, the scope of power, wisdom of the created mind. To know that we know that we know. You're not looking at a sick person. You have your consciousness has ascended. That's not what you see. You are in a state of ascension. I would imagine that's part of the training, to ascend, to rise in consciousness. I would imagine that's what it's about. Okay, from Basic Principles, Science of Mind, page 97. First of all, the question is, explain the realization method of treatment. Another one that I had to study. I must tell you something. I must confess. I spend quite a bit of time reading. I like it. I love it. It's just, but then I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd when it comes to research. I'm just a nerd. I can't explain it. Anyway, page 97. The realization method is the simpler of the two methods, referring to the analytical method as well. It is that movement, the realization method. It is that movement of mind by which we become instantly and simultaneously of the following. The following is that anything that is not of infinite is not the truth. The thought of the infinite is of that of perfection. This requires a lot of training because it's undoing. If for me, it would be the undoing of a lot of messages that I was filled with all of my life. And even though I work with a set of principles that have, in essence, improved my thinking quite a bit, the fact still remains that a lot of the tapes and messages, also a lot of the tapes and messages that you could hear in any given day, you may very well be placed in the midst of a situation, and the train may be late, or you may be late for an appointment, and you're full of anxiety. No. You become still and you go within. And that is training. That takes training. That takes the willingness to want to rise. It takes the willingness to want to ascend to a higher level. I used that term already, to ascend, to go up in consciousness, rise in consciousness, go up, higher. Okay? There is movement by the mind. It is movement of mind by which we become instantly and simultaneously to a realization of the following. Number one, the nothingness of a condition. We have the same authority as the master teacher Jesus has when he addressed the spirit of Jairus' daughter, when he told her to rise. He didn't blink an eyelash, he didn't think twice. The blind man helped him with the consciousness, the connection, the confidence, the conviction, okay? The condition of blood, the confidence, the conviction, the knowingness, all right? The knowingness. When I flip the light switch, I don't think twice, the lights are going to come on. This chair that I'm sitting in, I pulled it up. I didn't think twice. I sat down. I'm sitting here breathing. I'm not even thinking about, am I going to inhale and exhale? I'm inhaling and exhaling, and I'm not thinking about it. All right? I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you, and I know that you hear me. I know that you're there. Even if it's only one, I know you're there. Why? Because the equipment is working. Why do I know this? I know on faith. I'm here. So all systems are go. Number two, with the same question. Okay? The unchanged perfection that lies beneath the apparent ugly condition. Their condition looks ugly. Okay? So we need to learn how to transcend the physical. That's what separates the girls from the boys, the women from the men. The ability to transcend, to rise above the situation, to not look at the situation and say, this is all there is. This is not all there is. That is what you're looking at is not even reality. And in order to work with that consciousness, in order to work with that point, that is not all there is. What you're looking at is not what you're looking at. Okay, that involves a training of the mind. I'm just behooved at what a practitioner really have to go through to really rise above looking at a situation and they're not looking at the situation. It's amazing. So we are transcended. We transcend the physical appearance while speaking with authority. You're looking at one thing, but you're not looking at it. You are using your third eye. It's the only way I know how to put it. I'm using my third eye. I'm closing the physical, and then I'm looking at it with the spiritual, and then I'm speaking with authority. I'm connected to authority, and I'm speaking with authority. Okay? Always maintain a conscious contact with the one. Always practice that. Just practice it. First, practice it for 5 minutes. When you're done with this call and you, wherever, if you can't do it tonight and you drive a car and you have to drive someplace or whatever, practice mindfulness, because that's basically what it is. Being focused on one thing, and that is the source, the power, infinite intelligence, divine mind. Practice the presence. Practice a conscious contact with the one. It wants to respond to you so badly. It wants to respond to us. It loves us. God loves us. Infinite intelligence really does love us. And all it wants is just 5 little minutes of our time. 5. Could you imagine being in a relationship, excuse me, and as busy as you are, and as busy as your significant other is, all you want is just 5 little minutes of their time. Okay? And all they want is of your time. To just sit and bounce an idea off of you, if nothing else. Well, that is the same way infinite spirit is. 5 little minutes of our time. It gives us the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of the month, the rest of the year. You mean to tell me that I cannot find 5 minutes out of a day? It's kind of sad for me, talking about myself. That's kind of sad. Okay, now, still talking about that one question, the realization method. There's a third component, the omnipresence, the omnipotence of the power that is directed toward the patient. The power flows through the power. I got it right here. The power flows to the focus of attention. So all it wants is 5 little minutes of the day. You mean that you cannot give it 5 minutes? There is power in those 5 minutes. All right. As we are aware, we are inheritance with spirit. We are inheritance with first cause. We are inheritance with God. We are inheritance with original intelligence, just in case we didn't know that. So let's just say hypothetically, we are inheritance of spirit, first cause, God, originating intelligence. If so, then that means that we have unwavering power filled with the allness of God. We have unwavering flowing through. Imagine that. Just for a second. Power, power, power. Yes. Okay, and number 4, the undeviating, listen to this now, the undeviating obedience of the law of mind. The undeviating obedience of the law of mind. Obedience of the law, which always acts impersonally, that responds to the thoughts of the student practitioner. The obedient servant is always disciplined and poised. The practitioner only accepts the thought of the infinite as that of perfection, wholeness, and well-being. Now we're going to stop again. I want to know if there are any questions. Okay. Back to the realization method. Just so we're clear. The realization method is the simpler of the 2 methods, meaning the analytical method. It is that movement of mind by which we become instantly and simultaneously of the following: that anything that is not of infinite is not the truth. There is movement of mind by which we become instantly and simultaneously to a realization of the following. Okay? That the nothingness of a condition, there is such a thing as a nothingness of a condition. Okay? What you're looking at is not what you're looking at. Again, are there any questions? Is there anything that I said that doesn't make sense and you want to ask more questions? You guys are quiet tonight. Wow. Before I go any further, say this. Although our gatherings are free, yet they do cost. For example, the internet, the PowerPoint frames, the telephone lines, etc. There are many costs in bringing this series to you. So if this series touches you in any way, if it helps you, would you consider making a non-taxable love offering? I am working on a tax deduction. I am working on my 501c3. I am certainly working on it. So I respect the fact that individuals are waiting for it to become tax deductible. I respect that. However, if you are open to making a non-tax deductible love offering, then please make your check or money order payable to Reverend Barbara Williams Brown, 66 Washington Street, Suite 8D as in David, Poughkeepsie, New York. Poughkeepsie is spelled Poughkeepsie, New York, 12601. And for credibility and reliability and legitimate purposes, my website is www.revbarbara.williams.com. Thank you. How long must a practitioner work within herself or herself to rise above all doubt? Again, how long must a practitioner work within himself or herself to rise above all doubt? According to page 170 of Hidden Power for Human Problems, Dr. Fredrick Bell says, he or she must reason within themselves until the words they are speaking are backed up by inward conviction, inner assurance. Only confident words are spoken in prayer. This may take 10 seconds or 30 minutes. Yes, again, because God is a frequency that exists within you, he or she must reason within themselves until the words that you are speaking are backed up by inward conviction, inner assurance. Only confident words are spoken in prayer. This may take anywhere from 10 seconds to 30 minutes, maybe even more. Again, cited source, page 170, Hidden Power for Human Problems. Any questions about that particular comment, question? Okay, now we are going to the number 8. Number 8 is the from page. The answers are located on page from the book Basic Principles of Science of Mind. The answers are on page 98 and 99. How does the analytical method of treatment differ from the realization method? The analytical method is better suited for those with a reasoning point of view that analyze and dissect the process of treatment. The realization method is the movement of mind by which instantly and simultaneously to a realization of our oneness with spirit. We have 6 minutes. How may one achieve relaxation step in the analytical method? Again, how may one achieve the relaxation step in the analytical method? Well, let's see what Dales has to say. He says that there must be both bodily and mental relaxation. The objective is to be physically relaxed. Prayer is more than man's or woman's outreaching for the infinite. It is the hunger of the infinite for a more complete and perfect expression in and through us. And in one sense, it is the voice of God speaking through our lips. It is the voice of the infinite speaking through our lips. Lazarus rise. So when you're looking at Betty, and Betty appears to not be herself, and Betty has summoned you because Betty outright asked for a treatment. So you don't see Betty anymore. There's no more Betty. That is a spirit that needs you to connect with spirit to help heal her. All right? Betty is there's no Betty on the table. There's no Betty in the chair. There's no Betty. Betty is spirit now. So your spirit, your mind is connecting with spirit. And your mind is connecting with Betty. And through spirit, you will be helping Betty. You're helping your spirit and your mind is focusing on spirit. I'll keep it on myself, then that way I can explain it better. I have created a copy of Betty's good health in my mind. I am handing that copy over to the obedient servant. I see nothing else but the servant carrying out perfect health in the spirit of the person I call Betty. So I say in third person, I see her as being healthy, whole, and complete. There is only health in her. There is only wholeness in her. And I declare this to be true. Now, if there is anybody on this line that is open and willing to ask me a question or to correct or to add anything at all to what I just said, please open up your telephone and talk to me. Okay, so I guess I pretty much explained it. Number 10, and we have 2 minutes. Number 10. Ready? First of all, the question is explain the recognition step, including its tremendous significance in healing. Explain it. Can we explain it? From your mind can heal you. We are not speaking into a void. Explain. We are surrounded by the ocean of creative mind in the universe. Our thoughts represented in our words. Our thoughts are represented in our words. And immediately sets to work to carry out into material form because it works ceaselessly in the way upon all thoughts. There must be a recognition of the fact that this mind has the ability to create anything. There must be an assurance of the absolute obedience of the law of mind and the word of spirit. Mind is willing to create the health form because it is the servant of the spirit and we are spirit. Okay, I have a bonus question and then we can go into the treatment prayer. First, I want to say this one thing. Today I was in a place where it was busy. There was a timeline on some paperwork, and so it was a very, very busy environment today. And I usually have my iPhone set to YouTube because they have a lot of teaching tools. Well, today I had it on nature sounds, nature sounds with video of a waterfall in a lake. Normally, that my iPhone would last all day, and then some. There was so much energy in and out of that room, with people in and out of that room, that by the fourth or fifth hour, my iPhone went off. It shut down. Now, I don't know what that means, except to say that even the iPhone was absorbing energy. There was a lot of energy in that room. Let me tell you something. In and out, people in and out that room, in and out, in and out, in and out. And so, just to show you how an object can absorb energy, I mean, how does that work when an iPhone accepts and can absorb energy? An inanimate object. Anyway, here's a bonus question, and then we're out for. Plus, I have to tell you what lesson 8 is about. Here's the bonus question: how long must a practitioner work within himself? Well, we did that one. No, we didn't. How long must a practitioner work within him or herself to rise above all doubts? And I have here, he or she or he, must reason within themselves until the words they are speaking are backed up by inward conviction. Did I read this already? Only confident words are spoken in prayer. This must, okay, I read it already. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. I don't want to hold you up with repetition. Okay, there's a call to action, which is make a definite progress towards increasing your mental and emotional relaxation. Again, make definite progress toward increasing your mental and emotional relaxation. Okay, now let's go to next week, and then we'll close out with our book. You're going to be very impressed with what we're going to be studying next week. First of all, get your collateral reading straight, because your collateral reading will be you know what? How about if I read it from the book? Okay. No one has questions, and I'm almost done. The name of the chapter is The Technique of Treatment Continued. And the collateral reading is Fredrick Bill's Hidden Power for Human Problems, Chapter 12. Isn't that the same thing? Yeah. And Your Mind Can Heal You, Chapter 4. And then we have a Basil King, The Conquest of Fear. Okay? Now, let us close out with a treatment prayer. Close out. Treatment prayer. Yes, yes, yes. And I can't wait, because I must tell you, I've had a busy day. All good. I live to tell it. I lived through it. And that's the way it is. We live through it. We go through it, and we live through it. Okay. Universal oneness. This day, this evening, I'm grateful for everything that I have gone through today. I offer myself to you to do with me as you wish. I'm grateful that you have relieved me of the bondage of self. I am grateful that you have allowed me to rise above and to learn a lot from this series. I offer myself to you with the intention of edifying you and glorifying you by way of the works that we here on this realm produce. We edify you by expressing you through our behavior. I am one with you, God. Of myself, I know it will not happen. The dignified way of saying this to you, God, is of myself, I can do nothing. But because you and I are very familiar, I can say to you, of myself, I cannot make it happen. And because I like to make it happen, then I stay connected to you. And I know I can talk to you from the heart. I thank you for every good thing. I know you love us. I'm grateful that you supply my needs. I declare this prayer. I choose to know that you and I are one. And whatever I have that is which is in my perfect good, that the obedient servant is at work. In the name nature and power, in the name of all there is. I am grateful that you hear me now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are done. I'll see you next week. Have a safe weekend. Peace.